I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment, and I don't expect to be forgiven. I'm simply here to apologize. I'm ashamed of myself. I'm disappointed in myself, and I promise to be better. I will be better. Thank you.
But his apology at that year's Grammy Awards was almost worse than silence. Timberlake's remorseful words consisted of nothing more than the classic, "I apologize if you guys were offended" line. No, literally, that's exactly what he said.
What occurred was unintentional, completely regrettable, and I apologize if you guys are offended.
Yeah, no, this isn't it. Let's get into it. Good morning and welcome to another episode of Iconic Freedom, the Formula. We are setting a standard for accountability and responsibility, the ownership of your choices and the ability to respond to those choices. Let each care for self and all will be cared for. Hey, this is from, so both of those are from a website. I'm going to put this in the links down below. I'm sorry, you have got to go to this website. It is so much fun. It's called the publicapologycentral.com. And it's hilarious. I've never seen so many apologies that were, collated in one place before, but it's pretty amazing. Okay, so here we go. So the idea of apologies as they exist today, you know what? They really are rarely about accountability. They're not. They're sentimental. They're performances, basically. They're what I call a salve of sentiment that is really, it's just meant to soothe guilt of the person that's apologizing, to manipulate the perception of the people that are listening, or to dodge the mirror of reality, if you will, but not to repair the integrity of one's character. The apology, the performance, the sentiment that tries to pass itself off as growth, as accountability and repair, when really it's often just a way to try to soothe people, right? So we've been brainwashed. I've said this before about so many different things, but we've been brainwashed to think that there's a value in an apology. I say to you now, leave the apology, show me the change. What was that? Jerry Maguire, show me the money, show me the change. Because an apology is for your own emotional self-comforting. Fine. But the only value is for you. Actions will tell others that you've made a change. And, here's the thing that's kind of interesting is like, if you work with clients or the public or whatever, and you're apologizing, listen, to them, it's unsatisfying and it's an unfulfilled sentiment. Oh, I apologize. Oh, my bad. Oh, I'm sorry. It's like, it's meaningless, right? At this point, it's meaningless, but I still say that it's just a salve. It's like, wanting other people to lick your wounds, it's like, get over yourself. We'll get into some more of this stuff about the submissive part of apology, but the fact is, and I've mentioned this once or twice in the past, is that an apology is just, it's really nothing more than manipulation and game playing with somebody. There is no point in an apology. Those that are demanding an apology, they need to apologize, blah, blah, blah. It's like, because you think they need to be submissive to you, that, you go off and lick your own wounds. Don't be asking people to, lick your wounds. But what is it that, people do that they want to demand an apology? And it's because they're outsourcing their emotional, responsibility and accountability. Why do parents and authorities demand it? And the same reason, for their own emotional satisfaction. They want to restate their position on authority. I'm the authority, I'm the parent, or, I'm the government, or I'm the whatever. He's like, I'm the teacher, you need to apologize. But they're just trying to extract submissiveness, right? It's shaming, it's humiliating, and it steals the inner authority of the individual. Look, the fact that something comes out of somebody's mouth, that's who you are. That's in your DNA. For you, it may be that it's unfortunate that the reality made its way through your vocal cords and out your mouth so that people now know who you are. Okay, so then if you're going to, like the Logan Paul one, that first one, what is it that you're going to do? I'm going to be better. In what ways are you going to be better? If you've got video and you watch the one with Justin Timberlake, I think it's hilarious that, he's about ready to start laughing and he's got a little smirk smile on his face. That doesn't sound like anybody that's trying to apologize. But again, the whole idea is that you're starting to steal someone's inner authority. If they've decided that that's how they want to say, that's how they want to do, then let them do it. It's not up to you or I to decide for them. So what is it when people want to offer apologies? Basically, they want to soothe their own discomfort. Well, let me apologize. They just want to feel better. They want to virtue signal, or they want to, manipulate the narrative. Apologies are cheap, I think. They're trashy, Accountability, that's expensive, right? Because you got to put up or shut up. And, people love a clearance sale. Okay, so when somebody says, this is like the greatest hits of non-apology, right? This does not reflect who I am. Reality came out of your mouth when you least expected it. Say it again. Reality came out of your mouth when you least expected it. But it absolutely does reflect who you are. It literally reflected you because it came out of your mouth, was birthed from your thinking, and was executed by your choices. Reality didn't betray you. Reality exposed you. That's why I say, it's like it exposed you. It was already in your DNA. It was just waiting for a moment to drop that truth bomb so that other people knew it as well. You weren't betrayed by your mouth. Your mouth is the court stenographer, if you will. I was watching a lot of legal stuff lately. So it was the court stenographer of your own DNA. You didn't slip. You got exposed. The other one where he says, if I offended anyone, here's the translation. I'm not actually owning anything, but if your emotions had a reaction to it, well, here's this soggy tissue of pseudo remorse. I mean, come on. For somebody to say, I'm sorry you were offended. It's like, holy cabooses. Okay, listen, you don't need to be sorry about anything. I'm just glad that you revealed who you were. For probably the better part of 2 decades now, I've told people at various times, nothing offends me. And I mean that. Nothing offends me. I want you to say it all. I want you to say it the way you want to say it. No holds barred. It doesn't matter to me because of what I just said. That your DNA is exposing who you are, and I want to know who you are. And the only way that happens is when you talk. And when you do. So, come on, let's be real, right? Being offended it's real. It's rarely about, somebody actually being harmed. No one's ever harmed by something that you say. But it is a tactic. It is a tool of manipulation, right? So when someone says, I'm offended, what does that mean? It means I refuse to take responsibility for removing myself from what harms me, what hurts my feelings. Instead, you must lick my wound and provide me the salve of sentiment. It's not about healing. It's not about integrity. It's not about, it's some sort of bid for control or submissiveness or to make you feel bad so that, now you'll be contrite. And, one of my favorite people of all time is Christopher Hitchens. And, his response when somebody would say, that I'm offended by that, he goes, yes, do you have a point to make? And I loved it. I mean, for the better part of my life now, I love that response. Do you have a point to make? Because the fact that you're offended is meaningless. It's so subjective. Anybody could be offended by anything. But that's about who they are internally. So a person, they think that there's like a reset button, right? I said, I'm sorry, let's erase it. Or the one where, it's like a Captain America shield, right? I apologize, now stop being mad at me. But the trap is always the one that says, now that I've said I'm sorry, if you don't forgive me, you're the problem. Listen, all of this garbage is transactional, and all of it bypasses the one thing that actually matters: ownership of the thought, the choice, the action, and the outcome. It's the mantra that this podcast talks about all the time. So if I were to say, I don't require anything from you, I've already adjusted accordingly. So somebody says, can I offer an apology? No, I don't require any of that from you. I've already adjusted accordingly. I've paid attention to who you are. Now that I know who you are, I know whether or not I want to be around you or what kind of person you're going to be. I mean, come on, that's freedom, right? To not be bound or hostage to something somebody else says. And that's the formula, right? It ends this game of manipulation. When you no longer require the apology, you cut that energetic tether that someone else's behavior had over you. When you no longer require the apology, you have cut ties from that person having power over you. Wanting an apology or giving an apology is just game playing. It's a scam. It doesn't mean anything, right? It's useless sentiment. Free yourself from it, right? I mean, that is the formula. What is the formula? The formula is you deciding the qualities that you want for yourself, like a periodic chart: choice, responsibility, accountability. Creating those things for yourself to make a life for yourself that you enjoy. And if you could do no harm to others, that would be great. Most people that have those qualities, though, they're not going to do harm to themselves or others. So I say, flip the script, right? What replaces the apology? Sometimes I've had that question. So if you're not saying you're sorry, then what are you saying? Forget saying I'm sorry. What actually will matter is this. Here's how I came to the choice I made. Or here's how I came to my new thought conclusion. Or here's what my future behavior and standard will look like moving forward. That's accountability. That's the integrity. That's the formula. Recently, I saw this thing on X where somebody was making some comment about Piers Morgan and how they posted this old tweet that he had about the vax and, how he, didn't like people that didn't take the vax, blah, 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 whatever. And now he's changed his position. Okay, great. Well, I don't need, and this was my response, is I don't need an apology. What I'd like to know is, first of all, what was in you that made you say that? What was in you that made you make that comment that people that didn't get vaccinated were X, Y, and Z? And then when you changed your mind, what made you change your mind? What new information did you have that moved you to a place where now you're thinking about it differently? And now I want to know, what are you going to do in the future? Because those are the three things that I just said, right? Here's how I came to the choice that I made. Here's what was going on with me intellectually or emotionally. And I'm going to say 99.9% of the time it's emotional. So here's how I came to that choice. Here's how I came to my new thought conclusion. Logically, cognitively, this is how I moved to the new position. If you have made a change, you should be able to tell people that. I've said that for years on, people's social media about politicians. If you've made a change and you no longer think this way, tell us how you got there. It's simple. And if you really have, you'll know how you got there. Well, I started reading this and then I understood this, and I can easily tell people, I started listening to Christopher Hitchens, and I listened to Milton Friedman, and I listened to Art Laffer, and I went and saw these people. And I mean, there's a whole path, a journey that I took that I can enumerate how I got there. And then here's what my future behavior and standard will look like as I move forward, right? Is that, I will be much more conscientious of whatever comes out of my mouth, XYZ, whatever. But whatever comes out of your mouth is your DNA. And the only way you're going to change your DNA, wait, what did he just say? The only way you're going to change your DNA is you have to integrate the change that happens for you. Can you change your DNA? Yes, you can. Now, this is my hypothesis. Time will prove it or not, but I will tell you, I have changed my own DNA. I can tell, because certain things that were once a part of my DNA are no longer a part of my DNA. When somebody has asked me, well, how come, what keeps you from, killing someone or, doing harm to someone? It's like, I just wouldn't do that. And the reason is because I have developed accountability and responsibility. I would never harm another person. I would never harm an animal, or I would never harm children or elderly or whatever. I just wouldn't do it. The only time that's going to happen is if that other person has put my life in danger and I have to decide between me or them. Okay, so am I offering true accountability or am I soothing my guilt? And that's a good question to be asking. I would say that this is your audit moment, if you will. This is the forensics in action. Am I offering true accountability? And I'm being accountable for the things that I said, and understanding that accountability means I'm going to have to deal with whatever the outcome is, whatever the consequences are. Or am I just soothing my guilt? I'm just trying to make myself feel better that I said something and, and it had this kind of impact on someone or something. Is somebody else, are they offering me accountability, right? Or is it just a performance? Is somebody that's sitting there saying, hey, that's not what I meant to say. Unfortunately, I did say it. And here's what I'm going to do in the future. And that kind of thing. Because if it's just a performance, oh, hey, my bad, oh, sorry, and there's no action that follows the whole thing about being sorry. Not that I need to hear that anyway. But ask yourself, do I actually need an apology? Or do I simply need to change how I participate, what I tolerate, and where I place my boundaries? Do I actually need an apology? Or do I simply need to change how I participate? You weren't betrayed by your mouth. Your mouth simply told the truth about you. Because what comes out of your mouth is what's already been living in your DNA. Apologies are the currency of the emotionally bankrupt. I'll say that again. Apologies are the currency of the emotionally bankrupt. Either the ones giving an apology or the ones demanding an apology. These people are emotionally bankrupt. They cannot manage themselves. So they need you to manage for them. They want you to lick their wounds, or they want your forgiveness. They want to be submissive. And if you're the person demanding the apology, you want people to be submissive to you. Accountability is the investment of the emotionally free individual. Accountability is the investment of the emotionally free individual. What is that? That is, you understand that your emotions are little triggers to give you an idea to pay attention and nothing more. People that are engaging in apologies are engaging in all kinds of emotional garbage. Run from those people because they will do nothing but harm to you. Don't care about the apology. You'll continue to see their behavior over and over and over again being exactly the same. And we are at the end of another podcast. Thank you so much for joining me this Independence holiday weekend. I hope you were out enjoying fireworks and being with family and friends and enjoying your freedom. This is the greatest country in the world, and we are lucky we pulled the slot machine and we got, all sevens. I mean, the luck of the draw to be able to be living here, either born here or if you became a naturalized citizen here. It is truly worth it. All the fun links are down below. Share it with your family and friends. You never know if it's going to help them in their endeavor. And hey, if you need some entertainment, head over to publicapologycentral.com. You'll find an archive of some of the best performative, I would say non-accountable, sentimental slop the modern world has to offer. I would say grab a snack and enjoy the show. But remember, please try not to become the show. Stay sharp and stay free, and let each care for self, and all will be cared for. Make it a great week.